Well, partner, it's been a long time since you've been around these parts. You say you're on your way back to Gomorrah? We'll take a seat around the fire. Sounds like you need a refresher on Doomtown. Doomtown is an expandable card game set in the Deadlands universe. Based on the classic collectible card game, it is a fast-paced game of gunslinging, spell-slinging, and mudslinging. In 2014, Doomtown Reloaded brought the world of Deadlands back to the card table. During the first years of Doomtown's return, the cursed city of Gomorrah was our primary venue. Here we saw the return of beloved heroes and notorious characters. The story unfolded around the noble law dogs trying to defend the town from the heinous Sloan gang. All that led up to a headline story, the Election Day Slaughter. The fourth ring was also up to no good, as Ivor Hawley created a plague to reduce the town's citizens to horrid undead. That's the story you probably know. What I think you'll want to hear more about is these tall tales and legends. At this point, we're ready to dig up the story and move on to There Comes a Reckoning, the first release from Pine Box Entertainment. This set moves us beyond Gomorrah as we explore the vast and sinister world that makes up Deadlands. There Comes a Reckoning introduces the players to the Servitors, powerful beings who can influence entire factions. These powerful individuals brought with them a new card type, Legends. These help flavor and guide your deck's overall strategy. We also catch a glimpse of other characters and locations from the Deadlands universe, such as Stuart Davidson, Sheriff Eli Waters, Rabid Rance Hitchcock, Fears No Owls, and Morgan Lash. The Tombstone Epitaph and the Explorer Society make an appearance as deeds you can control. This set also previews the upcoming visit to Tombstone with the Oriental Saloon, a look into the works of Darius Hellstrom's Plant Number 9, and the horrid fate of those who look up the grim servant of death himself, Jasper Stone. But who is Jasper Stone? Well, you're asking the wrong question. What you should be asking is just what is a servitor? You see, evil is a choice, and the servitors chose to be the nastiest of the lot. These folks used to be humans, but now they're the Reckoner's greatest servants, spreading chaos and destruction across the Deadlands. Stone is a harrowed gunfighter who's such a villain that even the wicked spirit keeping him alive is frightened of him. He's a servant of death himself, dressed in a duster covered in the badges of men who died trying to uphold the law. He stalks from town to town, striking down anyone who might attempt to prevent the Reckoner's evil plans. There Comes a Reckoning also introduces three other servitors, the Servants of War, Pestilence, and Famine. Darius Hellstrom is a true man of science, no longer restrained by any form of heart or soul. As the Servitor of Pestilence, he uses his business resources and the Wasatch Railroad to spread the plague of industry across the West, as well as any number of heinous illnesses as well. The man who would become Raven was born over 100 years ago, but quickly fell down a dark path of revenge. After his people were slaughtered, he truly gave in to his path of vengeance and became the Servitor of War. Raven has led unending campaigns against those who have wronged him, including the countries of man, the spirits within the mystical hunting grounds, and any cowpoke or posse who just happens to stand in his way. The venerable Reverend Ezekiel Grimm was once a preacher of Los Angeles, until the Great Quake dropped his whole congregation into the boiling sea. The few that survived had to subsist on the few resources that could be found out in the maze, until those ran out too. Once the hunger overtook his followers, they overtook Grimm. The congregation fell to such a dark famine that Ezekiel was raised by the Reckoners as their cruel servant. Now the servitor of famine, Reverend Grimm, uses his dark charisma to preach a wicked gospel and consume the souls of the weak. Too Tough to Die refocuses the story into the domain of the Servitor of Death and brings us to Tombstone, the site of the historic shootout at the OK Corral. Doomtown stakes its claim by crafting a new narrative that dramatically blends notes of the real West with the distinct flavor of Deadlands' Weird West. The location of Tombstone was chosen as the result of the European Championship, where the players of Doomtown were able to shape the future of the card game's story. Tournament results influenced not only the location of the story, but also inspired card and story direction. Pine Box Entertainment strives to include its loyal fan base in shaping this game, be it when winning major events, or simply representing your faction in yearly tournament series. While walking the streets of Tombstone, new characters get the chance to play cards and dust boots alongside historical characters in famous places during real-world events, albeit with the classic Doomtown twist. This expansion introduces Fei Chi Suitcase Lee, a character from the Deadlands role-playing game. In Doomtown, he brings his kung fu skills to the First Peoples faction, alongside the new home, Spiritual Society. The Anarchist faction also gains a pair of outfit cards to support their money-spending ways, in the form of Property is Theft and 108 Gracious Gifts. While here, our heroes are caught between a stone and a hard place, as the Fearmongers faction establish the Bayou Vermilion Railroad, shipping dudes and abominations into town, alongside famous faces such as Padre Ernesto de Diaz, Handsome Dan Deeds, Ike Clanton, Frank Stillwell, and Virginia Ann Earp. The next expansion continues the Tombstone story arc in Out for Blood. This is our introduction to the first good legend, Doc Holliday. Well, he's about as good as someone can get in the Deadlands. Doc brings both hexes and lead to bear as the Hexslinger legend that will help give your spellcaster dudes some additional ammunition. Each faction receives a new home focusing on classic Deadlands themes. The House of Many Faiths brings miracles to the Anarchists. The Office of Ancestral Affairs helps the First Peoples focus on town control and totems. The Bayou Vermilion Railroad makes it easier for the Fearmongers to purchase mystical goods. Both the Law Dogs and Entrepreneurs are going to cook up all sorts of gadgets at Fort 51 and the Smith and Robards Trade Show, while Jonah's Alliance will give the Outlaws some staying power in order to control deeds with deadly force. Fan-favorite deputy Sean Windy Ching attempts to navigate the clash between the Earp family and the Clanton gang, all the while dodging the deadly badge hunter Jasper Stone. The Servitor of Death wanders the town of Tombstone, eagerly anticipating the recent surge of lawmen just begging to lose their star. More famous characters show up to sling lead and cast hexes, including Wyatt Earp, Big Nose Kate, Johnny Ringo, and the harrowed visage of Curly Bill Brocious. They face off against some of Deadland's own, such as Dr. Gregory Tremaine from the City of Gloom, or Violet Esperanza, the leader of the Wichita Witches, and featured in the book The Cackler. Hell's Comin' With Me concludes the Tombstone arc with a bang. 3 new legends are introduced in this set, summing up excitement for classic players, role players, and tournament grinders alike. Each of these legends hails from the pages of the Deadlands RPG to focus on the strange weirdness prevalent in the Deadlands. The ghost, Andrew Lane, returns from the dead to lead the agency Western Bureau. All One-Eye Hank Ketchum blasts his way through the West, slaying all things unnatural for the Texas Rangers. Ace reporter Lacey O'Malley gathers whatever stories he can find to sell in a series of tabloid guides all about the Weird West. The world of the Deadlands RPG continues to be explored as Gabriel Pryor and Marshall Caves Collarman ride into town to battle the frighteningly sharp abominations we call Tumblebleeds. Fans in the know may recognize both the Preacher and the Marshal from Wildcards, an RPG live play show from Saving Throw, and the Tumblebleeds as a creature feature from the tabletop game. The dynamic conflict reaches a head as huckster outlaw Jonah Essex returns to lead the Cowboys against Virgil Earp and the rest of the Law Dogs, who are bringing all of the fires of hell along with them. Regardless of which bodies hit the ground, there's only one being who prospers in the thrilling finale within the domain of death: Jasper Stone. During the release of this expansion, Pinebox Entertainment organized their first destination event, held on location in Tombstone, Arizona, on the 138th anniversary of the fabled gunfight at the OK Corral. Players traveled from all around the world to meet up and game in a once-in-a-lifetime historic setting. During the epic finale, 2 players battled, representing the forces of good and evil, as the Law Dogs faced off against the Fearmongers. After a grueling battle, the Fearmongers won the day, which led to a disastrous storyline consequence for the intrepid band of lawmen. This brings us to a tall tale that's still unfolding around us. Don't you know? You're located directly in the domain of war. If you stick on this trail, it'll lead you to the Dakota Territory and the town of Deadwood. Welcome to Deadwood is the latest expansion for Doomtown that takes you to Deadwood, South Dakota. This is a boom town full of gold and black powder just waiting to explode, and for all manner of grifters to pick up the pieces. To showcase this, each faction received a new grifter to help focus deck archetypes and create stronger opening gameplay. In addition, we get to meet Rosaline Byrne, the outlaw grifter, and latest member of the Wildcards cast to transition from the Deadlands RPG into the Doomtown card game. More exciting parts from the role-playing game arrive in Doomtown, including the new Varney Nosferatu, a particular vampire hailing from Varney Flats, the location of the popular Deadlands dime novel Night Train. But it's not just heroes and monsters that roll into town, as even an exciting minor character can appear as Yiska Greyeyes joins the First Peoples in this expansion. The historical twists continue as multiple fates begin to intertwine in the Weird West. The coward Jack McCall joins the Outlaws. He's hired by Al Swearingen, representing the true business spirit with the entrepreneurs. And trying to sort this out is the one-time marshal and begrudging law dog, Seth Bullock, who always seems to be caught in trying situations. These characters will come to blows and more, as simply existing in the domain of Raven, servitor of war, will lead to inevitable conflict. 3 cards appear that were influenced by the players of Doomtown. The action cards Play for Blood and Bad Beat join the set, honoring the Name-A-Card winners from the PAX Unplugged convention. And Willa Mae McGowan makes her experienced return, this time as a Texas Ranger, as the result of the Ranger Badge event. The players of Doomtown may have the opportunity to decide the fate of those heroes and villains at the next destination event, Savage Deadwood 2021, celebrating Deadlands' 25th anniversary in the legendary No Rules, No Regrets city. Join like-minded gunslingers at the original location of Nuddle and Man Saloon number 10, the place where Wild Bill Hickok was slain. Stay tuned for more information later this year. Well, what comes next? Well, that's up to you, partner. Doomtown remains a vibrant card game, brimming with life and an exciting future to come. If you've never been to the town square, you can head to Drive-Thru Cards to get your hands on quite a few different products. Learn-to-play decks are available as print-on-demand cards or as free print-and-play PDFs. These can be found at the link below or on the Pinebox Entertainment website, along with a downloadable script to help you learn your way around town at no cost. Since you're seeing this video, then the print-on-demand option should be available to you at an exciting discount. If you're familiar with the rules of town, but on the hunt for a jumping-in point, you can also order a starter deck for each faction that's ready to play right out of the box. These are pre-built decks with advanced themes to kickstart your path in the Weird West. Boosters are also available in each faction. These are specifically curated packs of cards to complement each starter and provide multiple deck-building paths. Experienced players can even find excitement with print-on-demand action packs to provide additional copies of key cards like Coach Whip and Coming Up Roses. Promo packs are available to provide exciting alternate art and errata cards, such as the Chango Gunslinger token, which was previously only available at ChupaCabraCon 2019. And just about every player can appreciate the Joker pack, which provides 10 different Joker pairs to help you find the wild cards best suited to your deck. If you're just itching to make headlines yourself, Drive-Thru Cards provides the ability to create your own cards to let your playgroup finally enter the Weird West themselves. Simply decide on your card text, values, and numbers before uploading your image and bang! You're on the path to making your own posse. Or you can browse other player-created cards to add to your town square. Well, partner, the fire's getting dim, and it's time to head along down the trail. You keep your wits about you, and you just might make it in the Deadlands. Welcome back to Doomtown.